This is definitely one of the talks I'm most excited about because this is a particular interest of mine, wormholes and Stargates, or the science of Stargates. And in fact, there's actually a rich and diverse science about Stargates. If I could use kind of a colloquial term, actually they are known technically as wormholes. That's how they're used in the literature. But they actually play a central role in the sciences, in physics in particular. And we're working actively to extend that into understanding areas of biology, the biological sciences, in consciousness, awareness, and the evolution and development towards complex systems. But so despite their well-known presence in science fiction movies, they are very real and natural consequence of general relativity, one of the preeminent theories to emerge in the 20th century, the other one being quantum mechanics, and within quantum field theory or quantum mechanics, wormholes are a key characteristic as well. Why are just 1 second? Why are wormholes so fascinating? Aside from my firm belief and understanding that they're real, they allow for superluminal travel. It's within general relativity, quantum mechanics. It's a perfectly legitimate means of traveling faster than light. In fact, because transit through a wormhole is not really traveling through space at all, the transition, the translocation through time makes it appear as though it's an instantaneous jump. So they allow for time travel, to the future, but travel to the past as well. Because we know from general relativity that anything traveling at the speed of light or close to the speed of light is, by definition, going to travel into the future relative to systems or frames, space-time frames that are not traveling at close to the speed of light. This is another reason why any extraterrestrial visitors that have traveled a sufficiently long distance through space, ostensibly they're doing so at very high velocity, let's say at close to c, they're traveling through time. So any visitors you might see are time travelers. But that's only at c. If you travel faster than c, you get closed time-like loops, so that you actually travel what appears to be backwards in time, into the past. So wormholes allow for bi-directional travel through time. This is a very interesting phenomenon because retrocausal action, or the transmission of information backwards in time, is actually one of the reasons why wormholes are not too popular within physics, because that's considered non-physical, that it would somehow violate causality. I actually believe that the exact opposite is the case. The formation of causality directionality, the ordering mechanisms to produce the evolution and development of greater complexity, complex systems, is a result of the transmission of information backwards in time through the wormhole structure, the ubiquitous micro-wormhole structure, because that produces neg entropy, the opposite of entropy. So entropy is increasing disorder, and that gives us a particular directionality to time, the thermodynamic arrow of forward motion through time. The opposite of that process appears to be information transmission backwards in time, but neg entropy. And that produces order into greater organizational synergy. Wormholes allow for matter transport. So macroscopic beings, such as ourselves, ships, particles, can, in principle, travel through wormholes. Information signaling as well, which is another important characteristic, because even if it turns out not to be technologically feasible to create a macroscopic-sized wormhole, a wormhole that you can physically translocate through, even a quantum-sized wormhole that you could send information through would be vitally important if you're traveling faster than the speed of light. So if we ever get to the stage, or I should say when we get to the stage, that we're traveling through space, become space travelers, time travelers as well, you will need a mechanism to communicate faster than the speed of light if you're going to stay in communication. Otherwise, you quickly become isolated because you're traveling faster than the speed of light. No light signals are going to reach you. So wormhole is a curvature of space-time. So what exactly is a wormhole? It is a tube or a channel through space. So we understand from general relativity, or Einstein's geometrization of space, describing it as having specific conformational structures, that extremely large amounts of matter and energy will curve space to such a high degree that it actually forms a tunnel, a channel, or a tube through space. This channel, this bridge, can connect distant areas of space. And since space and time are equivalent, distant areas of time as well. One of the aspects of this particular diagram, it shows the tunnel-like, the bridge-like nature of the wormhole in good detail, but this is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional object. We have our two-dimensional diagrams that we're all very familiar with, but it's important to understand that these are representations of what's occurring in a three-dimensional space. So here we have a three-dimensional curvature of space, describing the geometrization of space in three dimensions. And then if we want to add actually what could be thought of as a fourth dimension, time, again, you also have a spin component, the torque component, which is extremely important, especially in considering the stability and traversability of wormholes, which we'll be getting into here momentarily. But so wormholes are spherical, despite the diagrams we always see of a funnel-like vortex. again, this is an important consideration with natural wormholes, because when we look out and observe nature at the astronomical scale, planets, suns, or at the atomic scale, subatomic particles, atoms, etc., these are all spherical entities, but what I maintain or posit is that they are wormholes. Planet Earth, the sun, subatomic particles, atoms, they're actually at the center of them, they are wormholes, multiply connected space-time geometries. This is a key point because the wormhole description of physical systems, matter, as well as space by extension. Space is an extension of matter, matter is an extension of space. This describes what are called the hard problems in science. Your descriptions within science that are just assumptions. So you start with mass, you start with charge, you start with the universe. In biology, you start with living things, you start with consciousness, and they're just givens. But what about the origins of these? These are open areas of discussion with no accepted solution. Wormholes are a solution to all those, at least as utilized in my theoretical work. Kind of an interesting consequence, and maybe you wouldn't expect that from our friendly science fiction channels or tubes through space and time. But wormholes do not come from science fiction. Science fiction utilizes wormholes because of those key characteristics and because they're completely allowable solutions. But a quick brief history to give an idea of the presence or development, the role wormholes have played in the development of science. This goes back as far as 1916, almost 100 years ago. This was right after Einstein published his general theory of relativity, and this was the year that Karl Schwarzschild published the first solution to Einstein's field equations. This physicist Ludwig Flamm publishes the first two-dimensional embedding diagram of a Schwarzschild wormhole. So as soon as Einstein's general relativity field equations are solved, we have a wormhole, essentially, the next year. Of course, at that time, they weren't called wormholes, not until the preeminent and amazing physicist John Archibald Wheeler coins the term. In 1924, Hermann Weyl attempts to describe charge. That's another one of our hard problems. Something that is a given that doesn't have a pre-existing explanation. So where does charge come from? What is charge? He attempts to explain it. I think he succeeded, but he attempts to explain it as arising from microwormholes. If particle pairs, your electron and your positron or proton, are actually wormhole pairs, and you have electric tubes of flux going through them, it appears as a charge, even though there's no charge there to begin with. It's the movement of space through the wormhole. This is where John Archibald Wheeler is famous and well known for saying charge without charge, mass without mass. How you get mass, you get charge, etc., where there was none before. So here's a diagram depicting that. Your movement of electric and magnetic lines of flux through your curved, highly curved space-time, which are actually particle pairs, electrons, positrons, by extension, electrons and protons. This has seen a major revival recently. In fact, this concept has seen some mathematical vindication just within even the last year in explaining the properties of subatomic particles. Now, in later work, Albert Einstein, in collaboration with Nathan Rosen, they're working with black holes, and they're trying to solve another problem in physics known as the singularity. Whenever you're dealing with a point, like an electron is described as a point, if you get an extreme amount of mass and energy, it collapses down into a point at 0 dimension. You get a singularity, you get infinities. One of the ways they were going to solve this is by extending this description out. So your singularity, i.e. a black hole, is extended out, and what they ended up with was a wormhole again. But since these were kind of the top physicists at the time, it took large notice. So you ended up with Einstein-Rosen bridges, which is the most correct terminology within the parlance of modern physics to describe a wormhole. ER bridge. Einstein-Rosen, in addition with Podolsky, also around the same time described, in attempting to invalidate quantum mechanics, they described what are known as Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen correlations, which are the instantaneous interaction across space and time, or what we know as entanglement, quantum entanglement. They were positing this as a thought experiment to show that quantum mechanics must be wrong, but when the experiments were actually performed, it was validated, quantum entanglement was found. It's just interesting that they described a mechanism, a legitimate mechanism by which influences can occur instantaneously through a gravitational instanton, a wormhole. And then they went on to describe how quantum entanglement must be impossible because it's an instantaneous interaction. But they just described a mechanism by which this could occur. So it's kind of an interesting, ironic set of circumstances. But in recent years, this has seen a major revival as well, in that quantum entanglement is now being described as this, occurring through the wormhole nature of the subatomic particles involved. It actually, this emerged out of the information preservation in terms of matter or energy falling into black holes and the information being lost. Well, if the matter is wormholes, it's not lost because they're connected through channels across the event horizon, the supposed point of no return. So no information is lost. But so the extended Schwarzschild solution, they were just looking at a black hole and stretched it out. And it's a maximally extended black hole. You stretch out the geometry as far as you can get, and you have the description of a wormhole. That's what you have going on here. This is your Schwarzschild solution, which is extremely simple, so an elegant mathematical solution. If your radius, if your mass is within this radius, you have a black hole. Now you extend this out, and you have a wormhole. Now this looks kind of complicated, but actually all this is describing, this is just a fancy form of the Pythagorean theorem. This is just, this bottom equation is just describing a triangle, which is very interesting. Of course, it's doing it in 4 dimensions, so it looks a little bit more complex. But this is interesting because it's the equation for a triangle, and if you are familiar with the work of Nassim Haramein, he describes a tetrahedron as the fundamental space-time geometry, essentially. And indeed, you can see this in the actual geometric descriptions of the geometry of space-time. All right, so moving on. I know history lessons aren't really supposed to be the most interesting topic of discussion, but hopefully we're beginning to see how wormholes are a very big part of the theoretical development within physics. So now we get to John Wheeler, my favorite, and he coins the term wormhole. He had a very particular sense of humor, but this has a very specific application. In that if you consider like an apple, that's your curved space-time, normally the quickest route to get from one side to the other is by traveling along the surface. But if a worm bores a little hole through the middle, you can go through the wormhole and get to the other side quicker. So I don't know if that was his exact thinking, but that works. Now, around the same time, if anybody was at my lecture, I see some familiar faces. John Archibald Wheeler, had the quote that no point is more central than this, that space is not empty. It's actually the seat or the source of some of the most violent physics, dynamic physics. So at the same time that he's looking at the curvature, the effects and results of space-time curvature and describing it as a wormhole, he describes the ubiquitous quantum fluctuations of the vacuum as quantum space-time foam. So it takes an extreme amount of mass and energy to curve space sufficiently to get a channel. So at our scale, the mesoscopic, macroscopic scale, the only thing with enough mass and energy to curve space-time sufficiently to make a wormhole is a black hole, like a stellar object, a supermassive stellar object. But as you go down in scale, energy increases. The energy of empty space increases. Even within matter at the atomic scale, what looks tranquil and placid, if you go down to the atomic scale, things are moving at close to the speed of light. Things are vibrating at an extremely high frequency, and that's at the atomic scale. At the quantum scale, where things are readily and constitutively interacting with the vacuum, with the energetic component of the vacuum, that's sufficient energy to keep them in disequilibrium. to keep the frequency, the spin, the vibration going. So it's a bit of a matter of scale. But since we're on the topic, I might digress for just a minute because that happens to be a potential solution to a so-called free energy device, or at least a device that extracts energy from the vacuum. Is that since matter at the atomic or subatomic scale is constantly getting an influx of energy from the vacuum, of course, a single subatomic particle, it's minuscule. I mean, it's enough that you can measure it and detect it. But if you have a large number of subatomic particles in atoms, which is not difficult to do, hundreds of trillions of trillions of trillions of them to make the laptop or whatever. If you can harness or sum up all those tiny influxes of energy at that subatomic scale, if you can step it up, transduce it up, you can extract the energy from the vacuum. And one of the things that would do that is a fractal system, like the biological system, the living system is a fractal system. So we're probably transducing energy up from the vacuum structure. Definitely the information. Is energy extraction from the vacuum possible? Is free energy possible? Absolutely, because it's how the living biological system works. It's how matter works, so to speak. That's one particular means of accessing ubiquitous energy, free energy. That extremely high energy at the subatomic scale is curving space-time because the energy is so great. 10 to the 96 grams per cubic centimeter. It's such an extremely high energy that space at this small scale is all curled up. It's multiply connected. These channels and conduits going throughout space and time. Since it's a micro wormhole structure, though, you don't have a linear time at that scale. You have timelessness. Time only emerges because of the imprinting of information onto that curved structure, the memory, the holographic memory. Memory produces your perception of time. If you had no memory, right now would be the first moment of creation. Each moment would be the first moment. Of course, you would have no distinction of anything. You would think it's all just one. So again, the informational and properties of space and the curvature of space produces the characteristics of our particular space-time construct, our particular experience. So time emerges from the wormhole network, the wormhole structure. Another hard problem solved. As if it was that easy. I mean, there's probably still some kinks to work out before you can say that. But this is my favorite part of John Wheeler's work. The most genius and interesting thing is that he goes on to describe particles as just being purely sourced from the curvature of space, essentially black holes, singularities. And one of the reasons he did this is because one of the biggest questions is the source of mass. This is why they built CERN, this $14-17 billion particle accelerator. They want to describe where mass comes from. And they don't, still. Even with the Higgs boson, which accounts for 4% of the mass. What Wheeler does is he starts out with no mass. You have energy. Energy with no mass. But if you get a lot of energy together, it curves space-time, and that curvature will make it look like something's there. And the curvature will create gravitation due to like the canceling of modes, electromagnetic modes between curved spaces. So mass without mass, again, arising from the multiply connected wormhole structure of space-time, and he called these geons. And we get the first drawing of a full-fledged drawing of a wormhole, with the wormhole title above the figure. But so your geons, your particles, are just curvatures, just a geometric structure of space. And so your electron and your positron and your electron and your proton are a wormhole. And you're looking at the mouths of the wormhole. And you call one an electron and one a proton. Well, say your photon, you create a photon pair with your LED, like a laser. And you put that through a crystal. It absorb and remit 2 photons. These photons are a wormhole pair. You send them down 2 different channels, and when you measure the spin of one, the spin of the other is instantaneously determined, no matter the spatial separation or the temporal distance, the time separation between the 2 events. That's quantum entanglement that's been measured, observed. How does that occur? It's because they're wormholes. So this is the rebirth of the Wheeler wormhole. This is actively being described right now. And ER equals EPR. So your Einstein-Rosen bridge produces your Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen correlations, your quantum entanglement. And probably vice versa as well. Entanglement is a potential mechanism for, let's say, communication through the wormhole structure of space. And now we get to today with at least over 50 physics papers published on wormholes each year. That was, I think, counted in 2001, and that's a trend that's been increasing, which is a very exciting thing for somebody who studies wormholes, because there's plenty of stuff to read about. And we see, hopefully, that the science of wormholes is not a trivial matter. Going back to our ubiquitous wormhole network, I think I've probably covered this really well by this point. But at the Planck scale, you have your quantum space-time foam, multiply connected space-time geometry. I'm attempting to depict this in 3 dimensions here, what it might look like, this neuronal patterning, constantly fractionating, bifurcating fractal system, this information network. We see it actually comprising matter, the particles, with 10 to the 40th wormhole connections coming off of the surface of the proton, and using that particular calculation, you can get the exact radius of the proton, the mass of the proton, by counting the number of wormholes. It's just amazing. And you know, that is the scaling factor from the Planck scale to the proton scale, and from the proton to the universal scale. You have this very, very harmonic relationships. So that this number 10 to the 40th is actually a very famous number, let's say Paul Dirac, another one of the preeminent physicists of the 20th century, included this in what is known as the large number hypothesis. He just pointed out that nearly everything, I shouldn't say that, a great many things have this relationship of 10 to the 40th, 10 to the 39th. And you see it in so many different systems. It begins to appear that it's more than just coincidental. And as Nassim Haramein has found, indeed, it's a part of the harmonic ratio relationship producing the ordering parameters of the universe, the structure and dynamics that you observe in the universe happens to come to this dimensionless number 10 to the 40th about. A very interesting thing. I was given the kind of patterning of the waveforms of these wormholes along the surface of the proton, but that was what you don't see from that is the multiple wormhole conduits coming off of the surface of the proton. Again, this is a two-dimensional image, so it's a little bit unwieldy as well, but I think they're calling this the octopus model now of black holes, but by extension, we would say subatomic particles as well. So the evolution of the wormhole is continuing. We're going from this kind of classical wormhole to understanding that your wormhole system is really multiply connected, a nexus network with multiple conduits. In the case of the proton, 10 to the 40th. Extremely interesting stuff. Well, no. I wanted to show a video in the lecture, but I needed to connect to the internet. There was actually on demonstration of a gravitational beam. It's a kind of a cool video. I didn't even get to that part of the lecture. I need to learn to pace myself. I've probably already been talking for like 2 hours. Yeah? No, okay. I'm trying to pace myself a little bit better this time to get through it before we all fall asleep. Yeah, that is a cool thing, the Dirac string trick. If you have a proton with 10 to the 40th strings, let's say filaments, conduits attached to the surface, well, that's fine until you consider that the proton's spinning at close to the speed of light. What happens to all these filaments, all these conduits? It's an interesting phenomenon that it's a spin 1/2 particle, so it has to spin 720 degrees before it gets back to its original position. So I can probably demonstrate this. I might spill some water here. So we're at our original position. We're going to go 360 degrees. I'm not back to the original position. So now we're going to go 720 degrees, and I'm back. One of the things about that, though, is that there's a really cool video, the Dirac string trick. You can probably see it on YouTube, sorry. That, like, if you have a ball with strings all attached to it, and they're attached out to the wall, if it's a spin 1/2, let's say it has to go 720 degrees, it can actually spin without the strings getting tangled up. It's an interesting phenomenon. So our wormhole nexus conduit system of the proton is not necessarily a problem. But in addition, and this is another interesting little piece of information, is that there's the oscillation. So the wormholes are continuously connecting and disconnecting. A wormhole handoff. And that's occurring at such an extremely fast hertz pace that even the speed of light doesn't look that fast. It's the Planck time. And that happens to form the speed limit of light because the fastest anything can go is the Planck time. But that's not in my slideshow, so I can't go into that very much. But the traversability of wormholes. So we see that they're potentially everywhere. Can we use these perhaps in like a technological application or even perhaps a personal application, which I hope to get to. Because the wormhole solutions, our Schwarzschild wormhole solutions, appear to be non-traversable or unstable. So any black hole is by definition a wormhole. And we know black holes exist. They've observed them, supermassive black holes at the center of galaxies. But they don't call them wormholes because the mathematics, if you look at the evolution, the geometrical description, as soon as they form, as soon as the channel forms, they close. So quick, they pinch off so quick that you couldn't even get a photon through there. You couldn't even get a light beam through there. And so many physicists, even presently today, will say it's very interesting and wormholes are great for theoretical modeling, but they're non-physical because they pinch off too quick. But if you look at the equations, the mathematics they're using for their non-traversable, unstable wormholes, these things have no spin component, which is a very important thing. There's a number of non-physical things about the mathematical description that I believe make it extremely premature or inaccurate to conclude that wormholes are non-traversable. But if you go with these kind of classical solutions, they say that, okay, the only thing that's going to keep the mouth of this wormhole open is something with negative energy, some kind of exotic matter that does the opposite of what most matter does. So most matter causes a positive gravitational interaction, so that it causes the pinching off of space. It causes space to kind of squeeze in on itself. If you can get something with negative energy, negative mass, which is another allowable thing within physics, it's predicted within physics, you'll get an opposite of the normal interaction. So you can dilate the wormhole to keep it open. The only problem is for a traversable wormhole to get enough negative energy, enough negative mass to keep the mouth of the wormhole open, you need the equivalent of Jupiter in negative energy, negative mass. Using our the classical, let's say, equations and mathematics that don't have a spin component, that are leaving out a lot of important things. So to get that negative curvature, that opening up of space, it's assumed that you need something of a Jupiter-sized object of exotic matter. There's, again, some problems with this kind of conclusion, and that we do observe in fact, in a very big way and everywhere, this supposed negative mass effect. It's the expansion of space. The universe is accelerating. That is a negative energy interaction, effect. And in fact, that is supposed to be a violation of the energy laws of physics. Things are not supposed to open up space, but it's occurring all around us all the time. So you don't need exotic matter to open up a wormhole and get through it. So space is already doing it. How can we do it technologically? Through possibly the Casimir effect. The Casimir effect is a means or mechanism to produce negative energy without exotic material. This is done in the lab, measured and observed in the lab. It's not exactly negative energy. It's just in between the plates. It's negative energy relative to the outside. But as we know from relativity, all things are relative. So you can produce negative energy. So this is a potential means of opening up a wormhole. In fact, I believe it's already been done with like the dynamical Casimir effect, where you get photons that start streaming out of this negative energy region. This is another potential means of energy extraction from the vacuum. Is energy extraction from the vacuum possible? Again, absolutely yes. With the Casimir effect, they've already done it. A couple questions here. I think she is. That's the same thing that the surface of the event horizon of a black hole does. Around, it's another known area where you get a violation of the classical energy laws of physics, is that around the surface of a spinning black hole, it has to have the spin component, you get negative energy. And so actually, a spinning black hole, the event horizon around it is by definition a wormhole. And indeed, in the mathematics, you have not only negative energy, but you have closed time-like loops, travel backwards in time. And Roger Penrose, the famous physicist, in the 1960s, came up with a means for energy extraction using black holes, spinning black holes. If you can just dip into the event horizon region, you can extract energy out of the system. But Roger Penrose is great because he's the same guy who worked with Stuart Hameroff to apply quantum gravitational description to brain function and the production of consciousness. So another great guy to keep in mind. That's some I probably should be talking about because that's my primary area of investigation and research. Was there another? Oh, yeah. I haven't heard that. I'm not sure where. Well, it was first demonstrated in 1993. I've never heard of it was less than what was theoretically anticipated. But given like that the dynamical Casimir effect is producing photons, microwave photons, that's a pretty big energetic effect. I'd be interested to see. I'm not particularly familiar with that because I just think for so many people, it was just an astonishing result, I guess, that there was a force produced at all. So many people just, physicists did not think that should work because space is empty and there's no energy in space, so you should not be able to produce a force, an energy extraction, by placing two non-conductive plates less than a hair's width apart. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'll have to look into that. But so on the traversability or stability of wormholes, it's possible that we're not considering spin yet. That's kind of the big aha moment. But before we even get there, so the Casimir effect is two non-conductive plates close placed together. The wavelengths in between that space, some of them cancel out. So they're not long enough. And so you can get, as well as the gravitational or repulsive force as well. So you have this similar type setup with the throat of a wormhole, especially a micro wormhole, where the throat can be extremely thin, so that your length is extremely long compared to your width. So in terms of micro wormholes that stretch from here to the edge of the universe, keeping you in communication with the edge of the universe, keeping the entire universe communicating with itself, the Casimir effect might be a very real inherent or intrinsic property keeping these open. Of course, at the Planck scale with the micro wormhole, even, I should say, a macroscopic wormhole can't close off smaller than the Planck length, an interesting property, such that Planck scale micro wormholes are stable. They don't need any of these considerations. But now we can get to keeping them open with spin. So when you look at a wormhole and you describe the geometry with the mathematics, and you add in spin, they're stable. Go figure. One of the reasons for this is that spin produces a centrifugal force, a centripetal force, but a centrifugal force as well. So things kind of fly out. There's a force going out when something's spinning. This is important for a number of potential technological applications, but if you want to keep a wormhole open, you just made a wormhole. We'll look at a method. I've already kind of described how you can make a wormhole, but you just made a wormhole. You want to open it up, keep it open, spin. You spin it. Our natural wormholes, the ones that I posited are natural occurring wormholes. The sun, the earth, subatomic particles, they're all spinning. That spin is probably important in keeping open that conduit system. So how to produce a wormhole technologically? The Wheeler-Kugelblitz. I'll put this up just because it had Wheeler's name in it, and I love Wheelers. So Kugelblitz is German for ball lightning, but this goes back to his idea of geons. So particles are already just where space has been curved by extremely high energy. So this is already produced, all the wormholes that are around us all the time. We can do that, theoretically at least, with an extremely high amount of energy. But you can get two lasers, extremely high energy lasers. and you focus them in to a very, very small region of space. If it's within, if the energy is within its Schwarzschild radius, it'll produce a black hole. A black hole is a wormhole, just within classical physics, a non-traversable wormhole. Then so you want it spinning so that it dilates, opens up. Use a Casimir type force to open this up. So producing a wormhole. Because the Wheeler-Kugelblitz is another way to picture this is that the normal classical explanation is that you get a lot of mass, a supermassive star, and it collapses down into a small region, and that produces a black hole. But energy and mass are equivalent, E equals mc squared. So you can get a lot of energy and produce a wormhole, possibly, theoretically. Now, there's some problems with that, though, because you'll produce your wormhole, get it spinning, it'll be stable, but you'll have the two mouths of your wormhole, they go from here to here in front of you. Not of much use at all. Except in terms of, say, communication. If you have a ship that can travel superluminally, like using the Alcubierre metric, where you create a space-time bubble using much the same similar principle, you go out faster than the speed of light, so you're going out hundreds of light years away. You get out there in days, let's say, extremely quickly. If you wanted to communicate back on Earth, it'd take hundreds of years to send a light signal. But if you made your wormhole, you put one of the mouths with the ship, keep one of the mouths here on Earth, they can go out hundreds of light years and keep in communication. And now if it was an extremely large or macroscopic sized wormhole, they could go off at the speed of light, and if they wanted to instantaneously be back on Earth, they can just jump through the wormhole. So you could create them and get a network going out all throughout space, and they'd be positioned in different spaces and different times, because one of the mouths of that wormhole went out, let's say, 10 times the speed of light, 100 times the speed of light. It traveled so far into the future that if you were to go back through that wormhole to Earth, to get back to Earth instantaneously, you travel back in time, thousands of years back in time. So that's also a really good time machine. So our wormhole is good for space travel and time travel. But that is, in my estimation, my belief, our future, space and time travel. You understand the characteristics and properties of space and how time arrives from that, and you become masters of space and time. You travel through space and time, and your reality experience becomes quite a bit different. It's not going to be anything like what we're accustomed to with our linear kind of time experiences. I think it's quite enlightening, actually, because for one thing, you very quickly step into the understanding that it's timelessness. You're not really traveling through time per se, because it all already exists instantaneously, simultaneously, one eternal now moment. And that's kind of like enlightenment, right? If you did enough meditation, you come to this like sense of eternal, unchanging timelessness. I believe that's one of the reasons why our time travelers or visitors are quite enlightened. Not only because they can make wormholes in superluminal systems, but because traveling through space and time is an enlightening experience. But so, if you're not going to make a wormhole because of some of the reasons you got to haul them around, etc., you could utilize the ubiquitous wormhole network. Wormholes already connect every single conceivable space-time coordinate, so you could utilize what's already there, the ubiquitous wormhole network. Again, one of the problems is that this is a micro wormhole network, so these aren't even observable because they're extremely, extremely small. But there are methods, probably this occurs naturally all the time, especially in producing your strong correlation, your entanglement. You can merge the micro wormholes together. Or even stack them together. You get enough of them together. This is a process of coherence. And so with quantum entanglement, it's synonymous with coherence. The coherence of the system is extremely high, and when you get decoherence, the entanglement is lost. But so with entanglement or coherence, increasing the coherence of the system, you can merge these micro wormholes together, get enough of them together that at least possibly you'll have a quantum wormhole that you can use for communication purposes. Now, what about though ships and people, macroscopic transit or intrinsic stargates? Naturally occurring stargates. Now there's a number of these. One of the most important ones that I believe you can almost even forget the technological ones or ones used for technological purposes. One of the most important ones are intrinsic stargates. So, I mean, not only are we comprised of a wormhole network, a micro wormhole network, but also a macro wormhole network. And my conception of it, these are like our chakras, the energy centers or wormholes, your third eye, especially a wormhole. So that's why I show an image of the Giza pyramid in the king's chamber in the sarcophagus. Maybe those shamans and priests were going in there to access the internal stargates. So they were space travelers, time travelers. They just didn't use rocket ships, they used the body. It's a possibility. But intrinsic, naturally occurring stargates, this is a galaxy. We know, at least most theories posit that your galaxies are formed via the seed is a supermassive black hole. It's considered that most galaxies have a supermassive black hole at its center. This is what produces the spin, and the spin probably helps to keep it open. This is a wormhole at the center, and it's probably connecting to many hundreds of thousands of other galaxies. That's a potential nexus point, a Stargate point. On our fractal or hollow fractal system of nature, it forms galaxies, and similarly it forms solar systems. So you start off with a seed. It's a black hole, a wormhole, your maximally extended black hole solution, and this is depicting your nebula contracting, spiraling into form a sun. But it starts off as a black hole. That's the kind of nucleation process. So your sun is a stargate, probably connected to other stars that formed in the same nebula. So you have a naturally occurring wormhole network, macroscopic wormhole network. the planet it formed in that same disk as the sun. In this case, the technological requirements would be to be able to travel to the wormhole region. But there are videos even available, I think from like the ESETI ranch, etc., that shows ships going into like Mount Shasta, but you can see ships that will go into the Earth. I've heard it described that the poles of the planet are major transit regions. One possibility is that they're accessing the natural wormhole system, the gateways, Stargate of the Earth, of the Sun, because it's already all connected together. You can jump around very easily. You don't have to make a Stargate or anything. Yeah?
I've heard a theory of the Earth is actually expanding, as are many planets. And imagine if there's a wormhole connecting the Sun and the Earth, or something in the Earth, to provide that energy or material for the expansion.
Yeah.
Is that anything you comment on?
It's something that I seriously entertain. It explains quite a bit of things. It's a pretty crazy idea, but I like it. Is it if the planet grows? So it was smaller earlier on, and because of that wormhole at the center, it's feeding energy, feeding mass, and the planet grows. So yeah, there's some interesting things that would actually kind of, in my mind, support that idea. Why does it look like all the continents used to fit together in Pangea? Well, one possibility is they were all clustered on one side of the Earth, and the rest was ocean. Another possibility was the Earth was smaller, so it was just a crust with small, shallow seas or something, and then expanded out, and that's why it looks like they connect together. But then also, those massive dinosaurs. How are they walking around and pumping blood to the head? Well, if the Earth was smaller, it'd be lower gravity. But there's problems with this idea. So maybe it wasn't that extreme. It's an interesting thought, but definitely, at least to some degree, I believe that the Earth, the planets, are growing. Actually, there's no doubt about that because millions of tons of material rains down every year from space. But from that wormhole in the center, at least to some degree, they're constantly growing. And what produces those Coriolis effects for the magma and yeah.
The other point would be with the mass ejection, both in the electromagnetic and particulate range coming into the Earth's magnetic field. Matter is energy, energy is matter. It can transform once it gets here. So it doesn't need the wormhole per se. But I mean, both theories look interesting.
Well, and because of the effect of spin on the region of space around any large spinning object, it's possible that your wormhole-like objects are actually around your large spinning systems. But that's been measured. The Gravity Probe B experiment actually measured that frame dragging, that distortion or torque of space due to the spinning object. Oh, that's an interesting idea. I would have to say that we must be, partly because of the fractal nature of the universe, but also because the universe obeys the Schwarzschild condition, which is a black hole. So the mass of the universe, given its radius, is a black hole. And black holes are wormholes. So yeah, we're inside. That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that before. Yeah. And we're made of wormholes too. So inside a wormhole, made of wormholes, the unified space memory network. So let me see. The wormhole network is responsible for producing order through neg entropy. I kind of discussed this a little bit in the beginning. This is the diagrams actually from the Unified Space Memory Network paper, which will be available. It's getting published soon. But this is kind of another hard problem resolved. Like in terms of biogenesis, under a classical model, a stochastic model where it's just randomness, chance occurrences that feed everything. You can see your larger arrows are here. It's most likely that you do not get order if it's just all probabilistic. Your smallest arrow is to go to something as complex as the biological system, the macromolecular structures found in the biological system. But because of within the biological system, it's probably functioning and held together by the extremely high level of entanglement or coherence. The entanglement or coherence that is producing the unified holistic system of the body, the biological organism, that's EPR. EPR equals ER. Your quantum entanglement equals your Einstein-Rosen bridges. So, given the micro wormhole structure, the higher level of entanglement has a greater level of wormhole connections. Wormhole connections that span time as well. So there's a actual retrocausal influence that drives systems, physical systems, more into higher coherence, systems with higher coherence. It's an ordering dynamic, producing a directionality to the evolution and development of the universe to systems of higher organizational synergy, systems that produce greater entropy, greater coherence. And this is a driving mechanism not only generally for physical systems leading to living systems, but as well for people. The more coherent future version of yourself is a stronger attractor. That's why you're kind of drawn towards greater coherence, and you actually have a harder time with actions that are taking you out of coherence. You find it's a lot more destabilizing because your attractor point is that future version of yourself that it has the higher level of coherence. It's a natural ordering principle. Same with civilizations. Our attractor point is a more coherent, harmonious civilization that's trying to constantly pull us in that direction. And it does it in general for physical systems as well. Now, looking at the intrinsic wormholes, this is going within the cell to the mitochondrial microtubule network, This is also called the mitochondrial reticular matrix. But again, you see that same fractal neuronal dendritic pattern recapitulated. The brain, with all the neuronal connections, looks similar to this. Within the neurons, the same patterns repeated. And just like how your wormholes are possible channels, conduits of communication, of information exchange, inside each cell, this microtubule network. A microtubule is a hollow tube. Not exactly hollow, it's filled with an atomically ordered water channel. But these are most likely optical channels transmitting biophotons, coherent laser-like emissions that are coming from the mitochondria primarily. But again, why does the cell have this form and function? Why does the brain have this form and function? Because the system they emerge from has that form and function, space. So kind of loosely speaking here, or facetiously or whatever speaking, we have an intrinsic wormhole system inside the cell, but definitely, or more literally, in fact, the surface of the microtubule is a wormhole system, because there you're getting down to the atomic level, your subatomic particles, single free electrons, which are wormholes. And so, greater entanglement, greater coherence of your microtubule system is entangling more robustly with particular space-time coordinates. This is a potential mechanism of memory. How does memory function in the brain? You're having events that are exciting at the subcellular level within the cells. The microtubule, the mitochondrial reticular matrix, it's entangling these systems through the energy, the information exchange, the electrons along the surface of your microtubule. They adopt particular configurations, conformations. It's what's attempted to be shown here with A, B, C, because they're going to fluctuate with each event, but you have an event that corresponds to configuration A at your space-time coordinate alpha. This is a world line that you're going through space-time. You have a particular event at space-time coordinate alpha that corresponds to A. A is entangled through the micro-wormhole network with space-time coordinate alpha. You have some other events that occur. You go from configuration B, which is not A, configuration C, which is not A. All of a sudden, for one reason or another, maybe somebody says a familiar name or you have a familiar smell, your microtubule goes, the information causes it to fluctuate back to configuration A. That, here it's space-time coordinate delta, is entangled with space-time coordinate alpha. The information that occurred back then is instantaneously available at delta. The memory is not exactly recorded in the brain per se. It's recorded in the space-time, but it's accessible by the brain through the micro-wormhole structure. So your entanglement through space and time, through the micro-wormhole network, engenders memory within the brain.
So that would have hearing frequency to access that same memory, right? Space-time.
I didn't quite catch that word.
The
Same.
the
Same frequency.
frequency.
Yeah.
Interference with that and
Yeah.
to be able to bring it back.
Yeah, that's important. Understanding that it's got to be in the same frequency. It's either way you want to look at it. That configuration state of the microtubule is a specific frequency. So if you get into that microtubule configuration, you'll be in that frequency. But more importantly, if you get into that frequency, it'll be in that configuration. But that is a mechanism by which you can actively traverse the wormhole network is just through frequency modulation, adjusting the frequency.
Yeah, because some people can access information or memories that were not their memories.
Yeah.
Access frequencies, even though they didn't experience that before.
Yeah.
They create that in their own mind. But they can generate that frequency and access those information.
Yeah, so, if you consider that, so each proton, let's say, has 10 to the 40th micro wormhole connections. Each tubulin monomer, which is depicted as one of these cells here, is made up of hundreds of billions of protons. And then you have hundreds of billions of tubulin monomers in one cell, and then hundreds of billions of cells in one brain. The numbers start to increase extremely quickly, exponentially, in fact, on the number of potential wormhole connections available within the brain. We did a calculation for that. Just the surface of the brain, the meninges, the envelope around the brain, with a kind of rough calculation, there's enough potential micro wormhole connections to connect to every proton in the universe, just on this thin envelope around the brain. Now, talking about the brain as a whole, you can connect to myriad, billions and billions of universes, billions and billions of different space-time coordinates. You can connect to other memories that you don't particularly think you've experienced, but they're accessible. And then, of course, how is that done? By getting in the right frequency. Through like meditation, you get into the right kind of frequencies, you can start to access all kinds of memories you don't necessarily remember experiencing personally, but apparently you're connected to them. So we have a great many connections. Although it requires quite a bit of focus in adjusting the frequency to bring them into conscious awareness, it's always exchanging information, just weekly, kind of below our awareness. So, something that's throwing us off, maybe we can't figure it out what it is, why we might always kind of feel a particular way. Could be information exchange that is occurring below our awareness. Here's our brain. This doesn't have the meninges, but the meninges is responsible for producing this highly folded structure of the cortex. That's the meninges causing the cerebral tissue to fold in on itself. Although the meninges is a thin layer, it has a fractal topology, which increases the surface area considerably. But that's kind of the primary receiver, that outer envelope. And by our kind of rough calculation, there's enough connections on that primary receiver region to connect to every proton in the universe. So even at the most superficial level, you, by our calculation, or our estimation, have the capability to achieve universal consciousness, connect to every single thing. But now, so that's our intrinsic outer wormhole connections. But I like to focus within, inside. And this is a very interesting structure. I think we oftentimes see the hemispheres, the cortex of the brain, but it's what's inside that interests me, especially the cingulate gyrus, your paraventricular system here. A very, very interesting structure. And at the center are your ventricles that are fluid-filled chambers, water-filled chambers with a pulse, their own independent rhythm, independent of like the heart's pulse. But in there, probably the pineal gland is situated right there. You have an internal or intrinsic Stargate, wormhole. The heart too. It's that pumping action of the water is probably very important in this effect. But this structure is probably extremely important in stimulating and opening up the information transmission through that intrinsic or internal Stargate. But I'd point it out because there are identifiable biological structures, organs, and systems that correlate to what in Eastern mysticism are called chakras. But these are information transmission systems that have very specific and identifiable biological correlates. So our internal Stargate, this is the one you want to access first and foremost. Probably before we start with the technological development of wormholes and Stargates. But indeed, if you open up this wormhole, this macroscopic wormhole, your intrinsic internal Stargate, get into this space, the space of the heart, the space of the third eye. You experience timelessness, that kind of eternity and union or unification with all things that are connected as one thing through this network, this system. So that's the summation, the science of Stargates. I'll read our little this quote. Probably maybe the most important thing to take away from this tonight from Albert Einstein. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want. What Liz was saying. It's very genius of you. I know another genius who came up with that same idea. The unity as well. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Excellent. Yeah. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So, indeed, it's not metaphysics. The things that I think many of us experience, we experience them because it's natural. It's how the universe works. It's just ignored, I think, by some because of a particular worldview that they want to promote. So that's the summation of the science of Stargates. Thank you all for attending. So I think we've got 6 minutes. If there's any questions?
Yes. When you were talking about form and function and how that relates to the brain itself in systems, ventricles on some individuals with potentially abnormal thought processes are changed and are
Wow.
different and are large. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it's a very interesting concept to look into.
Well, because see, there's one particular case which is probably highly anomalous, but there was a man with hydrocephaly who actually, in his 40s, had very little brain left. It was only like the outermost region of his brain. It was mostly just ventricle. But he functioned pretty much normally. He had no idea. I don't even think the doctors really knew until for some reason he got an MRI scan, and it's mostly just water in the brain. And, that's probably why, it's at the center. And the pineal gland is right there. The pineal gland actually has little processes, highly folded fractal topological processes that extend into the ventricles, so that it actually kind of snakes its way through the interior. So the ventricles can't really be distinguished or separated from the pineal gland. That's the choroid plexus. There's no blood-brain barrier to the choroid plexus. So it's a very important interface with the brain and body. That's extremely interesting. That's another thing I'll have to look up. I should have been taking notes from the audience today. Oh yeah, I can watch the recording later, because that's very important.
Who's got a question?
Well, I have a comment question.
Let's have it on record so he can listen
Oh.
to the questions.
Yeah, I need to take notes about
Okay.
this later.
Well, in this paper that you just put out about a year in remarkable discoveries,
That's out?
it was on. Yeah, I
Oh,
got it.
excellent.
I printed
Fantastic.
it before I came. You made
I
this.
wrote that before I left.
Yeah. You just wrote it, I guess, and well, you made this comment that it really hit me. I never really thought about this, about the resistance in mainstream science to new discoveries, and you said, so I'll quote this, and it really got me thinking, and it was a great perspective. You said that perhaps, it's small, okay, perhaps the resistance to those theories that are a bit before their time is part of this evolution. A system needs time to adjust to the energy requirements of an acceleration in course, and these discoveries are undoubtedly accelerating us towards a profound new universe of experience and understanding. And I thought that was just such a positive perspective, and it made sense too. But I never thought of that, so I just wanted
Thank
to
you. Yeah,
comment on.
I really kind of feel or view it as a bit of inertia. Kind of human collective is an inertial system, and we've been on a particular course, and we're trying to shift that. And that's an acceleration. It takes quite a bit of energy, but also because of the inertia, it takes a little bit of time before the energy is sufficient to shift that course. I think that that's kind of what we're observing is the resistance, the inertia in the acceleration and the change of our course to that greater attractor region, that greater organizational syntropy and order, greater coherence that we're trying to steer towards, I think. So, and you see it as resistance from the scientific community, resistance in the establishment. The establishment is our inertial system. It doesn't want to move. It's established, right?
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
That was, and, I mean, we could go.
I can pass it. I got it. I'm standing.
Forget my question.
Oh.
How with your warp drive, the Abercrombie drive, I like to call it.
Alcubierre.
Yeah, that word. Could you describe a possible navigation control system so you know how do I get there? You did it with the wormhole thing, so you explain how you might travel around, but how would you control what type of thing? Because you're going fast. How do you not crash into anything? Well, yeah. Anyways, elucidate or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Unless it's too advanced right now.
No, but it's actually a bit, I guess, even counterintuitive, because you actually don't have to be moving at all. The ship itself, since it's the relative frame of space that's moving, I don't know if you'd have to worry so much about collisions because the space-time bubble is a curving space to a sufficient degree that it might act as a natural force field. So I believe that it actually could be its own package. I mean, coming with all of it. The navigation, though, I've often liked to consider that. I mean, you're on the surface of Earth and you want to get out to such and such star. How do you go about that? It would be as simple as keeping the star in your line of sight, in your trajectory. You do need particular considerations with if you're just going to go out exploring. You want to make sure that you're going in a direction where there's a good concentration of stars, because you might look out and see a good number of stars overhead, but if you go in that direction, you're actually flying out of the disk of the Milky Way galaxy. But it's a little bit difficult to find the orientation, which way you'd want to go to stay in the disk. But so if you head towards Sagittarius, once you get your starship, FYI, if you head towards Sagittarius over here in the south, you'll get to a good number of systems. Head that way. Don't head this way.
Thank you. This is going to draw on your information on the brain. Energetically, what is going on with the concept of, I could say, resistance or fear, or when there's a pattern established energetically, some way I don't understand, and then a new paradigm, a new piece of information is introduced that is so contrary to what's established. And what happens is either, it seems like there's this pressure that builds up energetically, and either we, or the universe, will either discharge the energy, which seems to be manifested in emotion, crying, laughing, shaking, whatever, maybe even yawning, or we do something to not allow that to happen. Can you explain to me what's going on this quantum physics level?
Yeah, so...
Which seems to be key to what we have to unleash to prepare humanity.
This was, for me, really related to one of the central topics there was arising at the conference that I was just at previous to this one, the International Congress of Conscientiology, because they were...
What geology?
Conscientiology, like sentience, conscience.
Oh, yeah.
With an ology stuck on there so you can't pronounce it.
Conscientology. Okay.
Conscientiology, the study of consciousness as a science. But one of the things that continually was recurring was this idea of the subjective, which are emotions, thoughts, etc., and the objective, which is in the material world. It was driving me a little bit, I found it a little bit unsettling as a physicist because there is no dichotomy there. If you listen to Einstein, everything is energy, everything.
It's interesting that emotion is like energy in motion.
That is no coincidence. I mean, I don't know if the originator of that word was really a sage or not. It might have been just pure synchronicity that they came upon that particular syntax, but a lot of these words are really revealing, absolutely. Emotion, energy in motion. But so, energy and thoughts, emotions and thoughts have a real, tangible, energetic component. There is no real dichotomy, objective and subjective. It's all real, or if you like the perspective, it's all subjective. It's all virtual, it's all information. But can just as easily consider that it's all real. And so your emotions or energy have a very real, tangible, and measurable energetic component in the body. Now, with extreme emotions, a highly charged emotional state, right? We use energy terms to describe this. You can either dissipate that in a healthy way. It might seem a bit extreme, crying, yelling, screaming, whatever. But that is a dissipation of energy, helping to get it out. Or repress it, a repression of energy. And that is going to cause, you literally compactify that emotion into the physical structure of the body. And it's not going to form a coherent structure in the body. It's going to act as a decoherent structure in the body, a blockage. So it gets compactified and stored in the structure of the body, the muscle structure, the actin filament network, etc. It blocks the proper flow of energy, can interfere with the proper communication of information through the body. So it's a particular problem. And then, extreme events can manifest as like crystallizations, etheric crystallizations of like the space-time structure in the body, and you'll actually need to go in actively with meditation and focusing techniques to find the blockages in the body, and you can remove them. You go into them, and then you'll probably end up crying, yelling, shaking as you let that energy out that was previously repressed. Acupuncture and things like that are good at facilitating the breakup of those blockages. But absolutely, it's a very real, tangible thing. Thoughts produce the same kind of effect as energy. Yeah.
That's an example of how our thought moves energy. I mean, our will, or I don't know the vocabulary to use.
Where the focus goes, the energy flows. You know, it's like, and you know, it's like, I mean, I think we have an easy time accepting that in the body. Like, oh, if I focus on, you know, my shoulder, the energy is going to flow there. And indeed, if you had one of those blockages, let's say in the shoulder, you focus there, bring the energy there, you can focus in on it. But again, there's no separation between your body and everything else around you. If you looked at the most intricate scale, it's a multiply connected network, that micro wormhole network. So even your focus outside of your body, what we think of as outside of the body, energy will flow there as well. I kind of cut you off a little bit, I think. You were, was that kind of what you were
I
going
guess
with?
I'm trying to get my head wrapped around how thought, how we generate, okay, you said where the focus goes, the energy flows, which I'm going to remember that.
Yeah.
It seems like in our mastery of the universe, the first thing we need to do, and I had used the word recover, because it seems like young humans direct that energy, and they don't allow the blockages to happen. But we get socialized into not letting that energy flow, and not seeing where it has to be released. It seems like in a mastery of the universe, it has to start here. And from there we will, it seems like it's key to maintaining an intelligent functioning is to be able to make that happen. Let that happen again.
And you know, in accessing the internal Stargates, if you want to call them that, the internal information communication system, or even possibly in traveling through wormholes, you know, it's not going to occur if those blockages, if those crystallizations in the atomic and space-time structure are there in the body. So, you know, one of the largest first steps in that is to clear those out, to optimize the information and energy efficiency of the biological system. The Tibetan monks spend a great deal of time doing that before they start doing their travels through space and time. They clear out all the blockages in the body. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a great answer.
Thank you. Yeah. Feel free to go anytime you like.
I just want to thank you and congratulate you for the extraordinary presentation that you just did. I'm sorry I was late. It seems to be that I missed the first part. But that description of the ship traveling through the wormhole was so vivid that I really need to ask you this question. Have you traveled in one of those ships?
You know, really not through a conscious awareness. Not at a point where I was lucid or aware. I do have times that I woke up with the distinct awareness that had occurred, but I think that in many cases it occurs through or during a altered state of mind. It's almost like in many cases, in order to do it, you have to be in such an altered state of mind. You might not remember it. I could feel it in my body when I woke up, kind of almost like I was feeling at the end of this 36-hour trip around the planet, you know. But not in my conscious awareness, you know.
That's such a brilliant integration of spirituality and hardcore science. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, look at me. Oh, I have a question. Can you talk a bit about parallel universes and accessing? Are there multiple access points, multiple wormholes?
You know, that's very pertinent, very cogent question. And it's something I kind of actually skipped over a little bit. Just that it's a pretty detailed discussion, and it can be a little bit confusing just because I think the important thing to understand when discussing multiple universes, parallel universes, is that it's a bit of a conceptual form because it's still just one unified whole. But I think that's where the wormhole structure is important. I don't know if we can get this back. Oh, thank you. Excellent. Down here at the bottom, this is actually depicting the sequence of time as parallel universes. So your world line, your progression, is actually a progression through parallel universes. And I think this is necessarily the case for a couple of different reasons. For one thing is that this is a completely interconnected system, our universe. So at the Planck scale, let's say, at that intricate level, there is no separation. It's a completely continuous network. So, you know, it's a bit like a massive network of gears and cogs, right? Your little wheels with the teeth all interconnected. If you push one of them, every single gear and cog are going to move instantaneously, for one thing, but in unison. So the smallest change is a complete change. You cannot perturb or alter any one unit, subunit, let's say, of the system without changing the entire system. So, you know, if an electron in your pinky finger moves a little bit, the entire universe rearranges in response to that. Now, if the every conceivable space-time coordinate point of the universe is rearranged, it's a new universe, a completely new universe. So you get to the point where, well, things are changing all the time. Change is only one constant, the one thing you can depend on. So things will change. So what you're looking at is, well, what's the maximum rate of change? We put there's a good reason to believe that the limit is what's known as the Planck time, the Planck frequency, like 10 to the 44th times a second, which is an extremely large number, one of those ones that we don't have a name for. But the amount of time it takes a photon to travel the Planck length, 10 to the negative 33 centimeters. So this thing that's traveling at 300,000 kilometers a second is going to go 10 to the negative 33 centimeters. How long does it take it to do that? 10 to the negative 44 seconds. That's the Planck time. Well, that is the smallest unit of change possible. That defines the number of parallel universes experienced in 1 second. So the smallest unit of change is the Planck time. 10 to the 44 times a second, you get the universe completely rearranging itself. Or if you like, the birth of a new universe, 10 to the 44 times a second, this oscillation from formless to form, 0 and 1. But that is what produces the speed limit, the supposed speed limit, the light of speed, the speed of light. It's not that that is actually literally something traveling. In that sense, there is no motion, no movement. It's just the maximum frame shifting rate, the maximum bit rate of change. So you don't see anything go faster than the speed of light. You won't see anything do that. Well, you can measure the effects of stuff that does. You can see it indirectly, absolutely. But the reason is just because that's as fast as this particular space-time construct can change. But those are each one of those are parallel parallel universes. So you're shifting through 10 to the 44th parallel universes every second. Of course, you also have physically coexisting parallel universes.
We only have about a minute left of recording, so
Okay.
we need to wrap it here.
Okay, in the parallel universe, one of the things connecting them is your tunnels and tubes through space and time. So it's not just completely isolated frames, but you know that has interesting consequences because what you're remembering is not the same universe. You know, that's not the same person even. You know, it's a completely new universe. You're a completely different person. You have a completely different past. Everything is changed. The smallest change is a complete change. So there's some important consequences from the parallel universe structure, and especially in its production of consciousness, because it leads me to describe, I call it the manifold space-time architecture of consciousness.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Just wrap it.
At least I got that last term out. Okay.
You can, thank you so much.